and welcome to That Squirrel Speaks. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd, and this is episode 100 and something. I'm your hostess, Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry, and the Fat Squirrel, SQRRL, on Instagram. That's right. That's who I am. This week's episode will contain spinning, knitting, shameless self-promotion, wool piggery. That's actually an insult to pigs. It is a gluttony beyond even what a pig could aspire to. That's right. There's that much wool gluttony. It is less than some. Stop judging. And shenanigans. I will do things in a weird order this week because shenanigans will be of the super summer knit together variety, and I'll put those at the end because I know that some of us, when we can't go to shows or, I'm sorry to say conventions, which is kind of what it is, retreats, don't always like to hear about them. I don't judge. Whatever works for you. But I will talk about it at the end of the show. Shameless self-promotion will be of a non-showingness time because the bags are still packed. I will have an update Wednesday, July 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern. I know that's a crazy time, right? But I wanted to get it right out there. So there'll be an update Wednesday, July 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern, and those will be things that were available at SSK, but will now be available to your faces. So if you're getting this episode late, go just check. There'll probably be some there still. Because most things I'm bringing back, or that I held back and bringing back in conjunction, have a quantity of some sort or another. There are very few just one-offs or two-offs. So hopefully, if you find something you like, it'll still be there. If not, there'll be another update soon. Don't worry. Don't worry. So that's shameless self-promotion. I guess we should just talk right and get into the knitting and spinning of it. Shall we? Let's do. Okay. Spinning. I have no finished objects. I am still working on my Polworth from Spun Right Round in the Feather colorway. So there she is. I may or may not have joined her club. What was I thinking? I know what I was thinking. I was thinking, I just sewed a crap ton of bags. Excuse my French. And I need a treat! So I joined her club. Also, I really like her fiber, and her color sense is very interesting to me. It's not at all what I normally pick, but then I love it always. So I'm just going to try it. I've never been a part of a club because I'm very thrifty in many ways. I know some of you are like, yeah, right. But really I am. And so the club has never really appealed to me because usually it's not really a bargain per se. And then you don't even get to pick out your things. And then what if you get something you don't really just hate? So I've never done one before. So this may be short-lived, not because of Spun Right Round, but just because I may regain my sanity at any moment, which is kind of a joke. But it could happen. So I'm going to try it for a little while anyway. And then we'll go from there. If for some reason I quit in the future, it has nothing to do with Spun Right Round's fiber because it's awesome and you've seen I've spun. Oh, I love it. So here is the roving. I have about 1.5 ounces left to do. I have 8 ounces of total. 8 ounces of total. So let's just invent our own syntax, shall we? Let's do. This is 4 ounces on a bobbin. And so I'm spinning it kind of thicker. I'm thinking it's probably going to be worstedy. It might even be more than worstedy now that I'm looking at it. But anyway. So I have about 1.5 ounces left. But isn't it pretty? It's Polworth, which of course is lovely and fluffy and good in all ways. So there's that. I have, believe it or not, 2 spindle spinning projects going. Because I have consumed the Kool-Aid, my friends. It's tasty. So I'll show you one of them. The other one is, oh no, I think I'll show you both of them. I have so many piles of things to show you, it's a little confusing. I actually will show you both of them. They're not very exciting, except that I am spinning on a spindle, which I'm very proud of myself for doing. because I've never been able to do it very successfully. So the first thing I will show you is I am spinning on some little bitty bats that I got. And I got these a while back, and I love them. They're very smooth bats. So if you like a small project for a spindle, or anything, but if you like a small project, but you want it to be like a finer, more, you know, smoothy boothie, these are great because they're very smooth bats. They're from Hilltop Cloud, and I don't know if you remember this. She has like, I'm sure she still offers it. She offers like a collection that's 5 or 6 bats. Here's the spare, which I did not get to. And they come packaged like this, and they're named after birds. So I had to buy that. Literally. And I know what literally means. I literally had to buy it. So this one, for example, is nuthatch, and they all have different fiber contents. This one is merino Shetland bamboo, and she's hilltopcloud.co.uk. So she's a UK dyer, but her shipping is very accessible if you're in America, if you're in the US. But so this one that I'm working on is the pheasant colorway, and it's a merino Shetland llama blend. Oh, tasty Kool-Aid. What does the Kool-Aid man say? I can't remember now. That wasn't a funny joke, and I can't pull it off. Well, so here I have some on a Turkish. That's right. Crazy Town 5000. This is a Turkish from Riley Woodworks, I believe. That's just a small guy. This one is considered, he has like a mini. This is the medium one, I think. It's very pleasant to work on, and you get to make a fun little doodad. A little turtley cop of exciting goodness. I'm not especially awesome at winding the cops yet, but oh, it's still pretty. And look, the wood grain is very exciting. So there's that one going. And this actually worked. I really started this. Well, Tour de Fleece, all of these stupid turtles kicked my butt, so I bought this thing. But also, I was actually having a lot of trouble with my elbow and my shoulder. I think I kind of I sewed a little bit more than my normal schedule to prepare for vending. And it was harder on my body than I would have liked it to have been. So I had at least 3 or 4 days where well, maybe not 3 or 4. Well, yeah, 3 or 4 days where I really, every time I knit, it hurt. Every time I spun on the wheel, it hurt. And so this was a different enough muscle group and like action style 5000 that it didn't hurt me. So it made perfect sense to have an alternate thing to do in case I was all jacked up physically, which I was. But I seem to be doing fine now, so no worries. So there's that. And then also, I'm spinning on a Bosworth, which I apologize, I can't remember which magic Bosworth it is. But it's a smaller guy. It's like a 25 grammer-ish. I am spinning some mini bats from, of course, Hobbledehoy. Not that other people don't do mini bats, but hi, it's the month of batlings, people. Don't even go look. Just don't. So Hobbledehoy, she always does lovely things. This colorway is called the Azalea Batlings. And it's Tarhi, Soy Silk, Tussa Silk, and Sparkle. These are 2 ounces. So they look like this. The one I'm working on, I just have this much left, is this purple color. See? So these are more textured batlings so that you get more of a variant. Some more variation in the consistency of your yarn because they are more textured. But they're fun. See, look at that. Isn't that fun? It's totally fun. And I may have gotten 2 of the same kind. What am I going to do with 2 ounces of something? I didn't buy 8 ounces. Yay me. So I may have also bought another colorway. Don't judge. Or do, and you're welcome. I'm making you feel like a better person right now. So you're welcome. Feel free to judge. So there's that. I'll show the other colorway during the extended wool pickery section. So how do I feel about the spindles? I feel a lot better after I took Malia's class. Malia, of course, is Rhymes with Maria of the Yarn Raising Podcast. I said it right. Of the Yarn Raising Podcast, and she did several spinning classes at SSK. I took the Find the Spindle That Sings. It was kind of like the intermediate class. I don't have a lot of spindle spinning experience, but I can spin on wheels, so therefore drafting is not a challenge. And I read the description and felt like I felt in the middle. Excuse me. Oh, so I feel better about spindle spinning after I took that class. I've never taken a spindle spinning, even like a craftsy class or anything. I felt better after it because I felt like she gave me a lot of great points for efficiency and ergonomics, which are two of my favorite subjects, by the way. Okay, efficiency wins. I love efficiency. Really? I could totally lean Six Sigma my whole life and be jazzed about it, even though I think it's ridiculous in the workplace most of the times. But I do love some efficiency. So, but then also ergonomics, which is secondary, but still very important. So she had lots of good tips on that, which I feel like I need to make more of a practice of it, and so I'm excited about trying to incorporate that into some alternative spinning projects on the spindles. Did that make sense? I hope it did. It was a good class, yo. So that's what I'm doing. I like both of those spindles. They're very fun. Okay, that's all the spinning. Let's talk about knitting. Okay? Okay. So the first thing I have to show you, I don't know the name of the pattern, so I will be slightly filling here while I look for that. I knit a cowl out of Miss Babs. It's her 3-ply. It's like the sport weight. I believe it's Yummy. I believe she has like a Yummy 2-ply and a Yummy 3-ply, if I'm not mistaken. So I knit the variants, which was a pattern that was gifted to me by Katie Cat. Thank you. And it looks something like this. There's a worsted weight version and a fingering weight version. I, of course, felt the need to use sport weight because I'm kind of just a jerk that way. I'm like, I just am. So here is one picture of the, mine is not nearly this long. I do prefer a long cowl. Mine is a little bit shorter than I would ideally like. But again, I was working with a different kind of yarn weight. I didn't block it out really long either, so that might have something to do with it. But because I was also concerned about yardage. I had less yardage than both versions required, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. I do think I do like the way the deep sea jellyfish, for some reason I was like atomic jellyfish is clearly the name of that colorway. By the way, that's a great name for a colorway, FYI. But this deep sea jellyfish, I liked the way it turned out in this combination of garter and stockinette. This was a very, very, very easy pattern. It gives you some nice variation in texture, but was not at all challenging. You can pretty much read the first row, first 2 rows, and then be like, oh, I know what's going on. So it hangs, you know what, it is kind of long. I mean, it's not like short. It hangs to like my belly button. It's just that when you double it up, it's a little bit shorter than I would like it to be. So, it looks like this though. But it'll be great for winter and fall because it will definitely keep the neck warm. And it's not like it's choking me. Yeah, it's still pretty, right? It's a thing. Like that. I think it's good. And I had to knit some of my Miss Babs up because I knew Miss Babs was going to be vending in SSK. And while I really tried not to buy anything, I of course did. So in preparation for that, I did try to knit up some of my Babs. So there's that. I purchased this one, I believe, at Stitches Midwest, if I am not mistaken. Because I don't think I got anything from her. I could be lying, but I don't think I got anything from her at SSK last year. But then I did get like gluttonous amount at Stitches Midwest. So there's that. Oh, I didn't say who that's by. I apologize. By the pattern, who the pattern is by. It is by The Variants by Lisa Mutch, M-U-T-C-H. So it's knit in the round, combination of stockinette and garter. I've written for a fingering weight and a worsted weight version. All said, it was very enjoyable. I could see myself knitting it again. It's pictured in semi-solids. It looks gorgeous in that. But also worked well in the pretty variegated Miss Babs. Okay. I believe I knit that on US 6s, but I could be a liar. Okay. The next thing I have finished, I finished my vanilla cuff down socks made with sock blanks from Spun Right Round. Because I'm kind of in love with her at the moment, apparently. This is the picnic colorway. And if you don't know, if you've never knit with a sock blank, it's essentially just sock yarn that's been machine knitted into a flat rectangle. And then the dyer dyes it. And it's very fun and magic. These are single ply, which I do prefer to the double ply. I shouldn't say ply. These are single strand instead of the double strand that you often find. The double strand, of course, is nice in that you will get 2 matching socks, but you have to untwist a lot of stuff, which I am not into. I did knit these directly from the blank and blocked them, and you can see, if you remember from last time, there was some warbliness because, of course, you're knitting with already knitted yarn, which means it's all kinky. But I feel like it blocked out quite nicely, and I feel like they're super cute. Right? Super cute. I kind of dig them. I don't kind of dig them. I dig them. So those are done. What else? Do I need to say anything else? A 72 stitch plain vanilla sock, size 00s, slip stitch heel. I make my heel shallower than most people, for example, with a 72 stitch sock. You know, the rule of thumb is to do half as many. So if you have 36 rows on each, or 36 stitches on each needle, I magic loop. Then you usually do half that many for your heel flap. So you do 18 slip stitch rows, which is actually 36 rows, the same number of rows. But I make mine slightly shallower sometimes because I have total fretful and stone feet. They're just big rectangles. So they are slightly more shallow if you notice that. Not that you needed to, but just FYI in case you were curious. But I think that's all I need to tell you, right? I think so. Enjoyed them very much. Okay, so now we're on to knitting works in progress. I have it almost finished. My Mama Vertebrae was actually finished at before SSK, but then I realized I needed to rework a bit of it. So, excuse me. I'm doing the Mama Vertebrae, which is by Kelly Brooker. And I am making mine with this Bernat Cottonish, which is a cotton poly, 55% cotton, 45% acrylic blend. It's considered a DK on Ravelry. 70 grams for 258 meters. I like this yarn. I can't really speak to how wear it. I did wear it for a morning at SSK, and I realized the pattern once for this front part you pick up, and you're supposed to knit 5 centimeters, which is like 2.5 inches-ish. So you're supposed to knit 5 centimeters or 2 inches-ish. Supposed to knit 5 centimeters for the whoop-de-doo. Well, I didn't knit mine as much. I don't know. For some reason, I was just a jerk and thought, I don't need that much. I just want it to be a little band. Really, it was because I didn't want a big band of moss stitch on my butt. And so I knit the border. So I made that one shorter. And so then I knit the border around shorter. Well, I should have listened to the pattern and made it bigger because it just kind of wanted to pop a little bit back. And I think the border... What would happen is I would get this effect where I just had like a band between my tank top and the sweater, which ultimately, if I had been able to see myself, I wouldn't have been stressed about because it didn't look weird when I did finally get a mirror. But for a little bit, I felt like I was being too flash dancy and like I was just like my clothes were falling off. I mean, nobody needs that unless it's planned. Nobody needs it accidentally to happen. So I have gone back and I'm currently, I just undid the cast off and I'm currently making my border bigger. So unfortunately I am in the middle of the row because they are rather large rows. This also means that I had to break into the 4th skein of this project. So now it is no longer an $8.40 project. I think it has now gone up to like $11. Sarcasm. So there's that. I mean, what am I showing you? It looks just like a wad. I did modify it. You can see that the mama vertebrae is knit in plain stockinette stitch and is also not helplessly tangled, and it's on itself like a sad origami pile. Should sad origami pile be the name of the episode? It really has nothing to do with the episode, but it's kind of funny. Sad origami pile. So, oh, so you can't really see it very well. I apologize. I might also go back and pick the sleeve hem up, like undo the bind off and pick that up and make it a little wider. I probably won't make the bottom band wider unless it's just, I don't foresee myself doing that because I don't feel like it's that immediately noticeable to a non-knitter, and whatever. I just don't feel like I'm going to do that. So here it is. And the mama vertebrae is done in stockinette. I just did a little bit of a lace pattern in mine, which I did enjoy. It helped to break up the boringness of all the knit and purls. And I think overall I'm going to like it. We'll have to see. I think it's good for what it is. It's not the most flattering. I shouldn't say that it's not the most flattering. I feel like it's neutrally flattering. I'm not saying like it looks bad. I feel like it is a neutrally flattering item. But I think its practical uses outweigh the fact that it's not more flattering. Does that make sense? Like, it can't always be a what not to wear day in the good way. Like, you know, sometimes you're just the average day. We have the option to be fancy. Well, this is like a good average day sweater. Does that make sense? I'm knitting that on US 4s. I did decide when I picked up the band again. Picked up is not the correct word. When I undid, when I started to redo the band again, I did decide to do it on a size smaller needle, a 3, in the hopes that it would help to kind of pull it in a little bit. I may work the bind off from like here to here a little tighter than I did. Again, just to help it kind of cinch down a little bit and stay in place. I hope that makes sense. Also, I had not blocked it or anything before I wore it. I'm a rebel. Hush. So before I even wore that to discover that there were these issues, I decided to cast on another mama vertebrae because I enjoy being a little crazy. It's fun. And this is with some Knit Picks yarn. It's called Lindy Chain. It's their relatively new 70% cotton, 70% linen, 30% Pima cotton. It's 180 grams and it's a fingering weight for a 50 gram ball. I had 180 yards, is what I meant. 180 yards for a 50 gram ball. And it has this this is the plum colorway. By the way, that was a colorway fail. This does not look, it actually looks more purple on the screen, I think, even than it does in real life. Now, that said, I do like this color a lot. This is actually the color I was really desperately trying to find when I made my wispy, which is like a brown with just a tiny bit of grayish purple in it. So I do really like this color, but I would not call it plum. And this yarn is really weird. Not in a bad way. But the structure of it is really weird. It's kind of, it's like some sort of crocheted structure. Not really crocheted, but something like that. Of course, it's called a Lindy chain, so that it does imply that it's not a straight plied yarn. The only thing I don't like about it, so far I really like how it looks. The only thing I don't like about it is it's very easy to do this when you're knitting. To get one of the strands, do you see that? To get one of the strands and then accidentally pick that loop up, and then it does not Okay, for the camera, it went down. But you can still see that there's something kind of wonky going on. See that there's like a little bit of a hole right there? Not a hole, but like... But so I'm just trusting that it's going to block out, that everything's going to be kosher, and that these occasional little strands of wonkiness will be okay. I'm also a little bit nervous that it's more likely to get picked. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. I shouldn't be any more concerned, really, than apply, I don't think. But just, you know, I like to worry. I enjoy its comforts. So, I'm knitting it at a relatively loose gauge because it is linen. Actually, I don't know that that's true, but because it is a summer sweater, I'm trying to knit it at a relatively loose gauge. I am knitting it on US 5s, I believe. It's coming out to be like 4.5 stitches to the inch about. It very easily stretches to a larger gauge. So I'm definitely making mine with 0 ease because otherwise I feel like it'll just fall off. So there, I just joined up below the armhole. And so far I'm really enjoying it here. Maybe you can see the texture a little better that way. I don't know. Things I did different on the last one, which I'm continuing to do different on this one. The Mama Vertebrae is written as a knit front and back increase. I'm doing make one lefts and make one rights. I'm also doing a 2-stitch, what do we call this? Like allowance or something? It's not really an allowance, but I'm doing 2 stitches between the increases. So my raglan has this more definitive line. Some people don't like that because they don't really like the line of the raglan. I don't mind, and it helps mine to look a little bit neater and not as pulled. So I did that differently. I also, again, because I didn't realize that the front band was too narrow, I just got really clever and decided to just work my band into the pattern so that I wouldn't have to go pick up, because I'm not really sure about picking up with the linen how it's going to work. I know it'll be fine, but sometimes it's a little bit less forgiving than wool is. Okay, it's always less forgiving than wool is when you go pick up bands and stuff like that. So I thought, I'll just avoid that and I'll just put the decorative band right in. Well, now I'm thinking, oh no, am I going to have to go back and like do something funky? I might. It would have been terribly clever had I known that it would work out, but... So you'll see that I have some moss stitch there in the minimal amount. That really makes no sense. You know what? I needed another sweater to cast on. Maybe I wasn't thinking clearly. So there's that. Is that all I need to say about it? I think so. Oh my Lord, I've been talking forever. Okay. The next thing I have to show you. Oh, okay. Oh no, not the last thing. Okay. So I cast off those socks. I had to cast on another pair. And these are with yarn I did purchase at SSK. Actually, I traded for it. It doesn't count, right? It totally still counts. This is another Crafty Girl in her strong sock base, which is an 80-20, right? 80%, yeah, superwash merino, 20% nylon. And this is her sugar-free lollipops colorway, which I actually have been lusting after quite a lot. She had some worsted in her shop, and I almost bought it like 3 times. So I didn't even realize that's what colorway this was, but it was the one I was drawn to in her booth. So you see it's like purples and oranges and a little bit of pinkiness and a lot of good brown, which is awesome in there. And I am making, I apologize, I don't know who it is, and I don't even think I have the pattern. I might. Could I be that fancy, maybe? Maybe I could be fancy. Oh, I do. I'm so fancy. Scratch that part where I doubted myself. I am making the Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Lueder. I believe it's Lueder. Lueder. I apologize. Excuse me. Hermione's Everyday Socks. Belia was knitting on some, and I've been wanting to do them for a while, and I've actually started these socks a couple of times, but just not really been enamored by the first 3 or 4 rows. So this time I decided I'm just gonna do them and like go forward, and I do think I like them. So here we are so far. The texture on this one is weird in that, yeah, when you have just a few rows of it, it doesn't look like anything. I'm like, I could just be knitting stockinette. But when you get a good body of it, I do kind of like it. These socks are for my mamaw, because she's super cute. And also, she's a 56 stitcher. Oh my gosh. The narrow feet. If you have a 56 stitch sock circumference, just take a moment right now and send big thank yous to your genetic forefathers who made that possible for you. Because 56 stitches versus 72 stitches is like night and day. It's awesome. I feel like these socks have flown. It's because she has tiny feet. Well, she has long feet, but she has thin feet. So that has been very, very fun. Hopefully they're not too narrow because that would be awkward. Oops. So, what else do we need to say about those? I'm knitting them on double zeros. Okay, they're only like 3/4 as big as my socks. That's why it seems like it's going so fast. Even though she's a US 9, I'm an 11. So overall, these socks are awesome to make. But yes. Oh, I didn't do the pattern exactly. It has like a modified Eye of Partridge heel. I just did a plain. I actually did twisted slip stitch heel just because, again, I didn't want to think too much. I didn't want to think at all. I just said too much, but that's a lie. I didn't want to think at all. It's just a plain slip stitch heel, which I could show you by not showing you the bottom of the foot. That might be helpful. But so anyway, I think they're fun. I totally dig them. So yay, that. Last project, I promise. I did work on my Viajange, but I won't show you this time because, hi. Okay. Oh, and what knitting did I actually get done at the SSK retreat? Pretty much the other Mama Vertebrae, the one in the Lindy chain, is really. I worked a little bit on the socks, but then I got to a toe and felt like I couldn't be trusted. The sock blank socks. So really, I just worked on that. Okay, last thing. Then I'm making a plain old hat with some hand spun. This is the SS Cares for the Win colorway that Fiberista Files did last time. Fiberista Files, who is Highland Handmaids, that's her shop name, Heather. So this is her SS Cares FTW colorway for the Win. And so I just did, this is Polworth, I believe. And so I just did a plain hemmed brim. And I might secretly be more in love with the inside of the hat. I might be more in love with the reverse garter stitch section. And that's what that looks like right now. But anyway, I like it both ways. I just wanted it simple. Because originally I cast this on to take with me, but then realized that I had enough projects that I should settle down a minute. I am knitting that on US 5s. It's not really a super tightly structured hat, tightly knit hat, because I'll probably wear it at the house a lot this winter. But the brim does make it warmer being doubled. And to do those, I always just cast on with a provisional, the crochet hook one. You know what I mean? And so then I knit my brim, and then when it's time to knit the two pieces together, I just undo the provisional and put in a smaller needle and knit the two together around. So there's that. No pattern. Just measured my head, measured my gauge. Secretly, I may have just cast on a random number. No, I actually did. This time I did do it right. This time I did it right. Okay, so the rest of it will be wool. I didn't bring everything that I brought home from the retreat. I actually just realized that while I was recording because I have another bag that had like all of our. What do you need, Tova Grace? Quickly, please.
Guy on the game. He have a slingshot. He needs his slingshot to come out, but he can't get it out.
Or remember how you did that thing with the ring? She's playing Lego Hobbit. It's like the treat. Okay, what was I saying? Oh, so like I didn't bring my goodie bag things because I figured that you'll see them other places and I don't want to just bore you to tears. was an awesome goodie bag. I also didn't bring my mug from Casey because I drank coffee out of it this morning and it's in my sink. Casey, of course, is Tangerine Designs. She did super cute mugs. So, I showed you my batlings from Hobbledy-Horse. Here's the other set I got. These came in the mail while I was gone, so that was a fun surprise. And these are the Cliffhanger batlings. They are merino, tussa, milk latte silk, and sparkle. So, those are fun. And then everything else, I believe, are things I got from the retreat. Now, okay, so first I'll show you the gifts I got because they're yarny. Well, one of them is just awesome. They're both awesome. You know what I mean. Okay, so Renee gave me from her, did she say it was her local yarn store or just something that's close to her? But anyway, like the Madeline Tosh store. I hope the story is right, Renee. The Madeline Tosh store is like local to her. So she brought me this. This is Madeline Tosh. It's a superwash merino bulky single in the tart colorway. Right, what am I gonna make? I don't know. It's so beautiful. Just want to look at it. My own jewels. I will never own jewels. These will be my jewels. So it's called Tosh Merino. It's 100% superwash merino. It's worsted. Well, it's a thick worsted. It's a 210 yards worsted weight. So I don't know if it's still only available there or if they were just like doing the test run there or what, but it's fancy. It's local to her, which is so cool. Texas folk. I met a lot of Texas folk this time. It's kind of weird. Okay, of course it's a giant state. There are just proportionately a lot of people from there, but it just worked out that way. And then get this. My roommate was Palette PC Bev. I'm a bad roommate and didn't bring her a present because I'm awful, right? I will admit that I'm awful. I have 17 excuses of why I'm awful, but mostly it's just because I'm awful. It has nothing to do with Bev. I'm awful. And not awful at all. Bad person. So anyway, but this is what I get to smack me in the face with how bad a person I am. I don't even care about how bad a person I am because this is so awesome. Okay, I do care a little bit, but you know what I mean. I'm not saying that this is whatever. Are you ready? I feel like I can't even show you. So exciting. Right? Holy carp. Do you see this? And you can in no way see like the amount of detail. Like it is so detailed that there are actually like some of the shading is with a little bit of green even to give it better depth. Like in the squirrel flying. How crazy is that awesomeness? When I got it, I opened it up and I believe I was with Malia, but I could have been, who knows, with 75 other people and I don't remember. But I was like, I want to wear it on a chain like Flava Flav. Because I want everybody to see how awesome it is. But then I was afraid I would break it because I am a klutz. But how awesome is that? I was actually rethinking my entire filming setup so that I can incorporate it in the background. It's awesome. It is. I'm really the luckiest person in the entire world. Okay, maybe not the luckiest, but I am in like the upper 10% of luckiness. Okay, so the rest of the stuff is stuff. This year, I want to say the club color, but that's not right. But the goodie bag contains fiber and yarn. This year, Steve of Leading Men Fiber Arts did the fiber, and it's a BFL, a Blue Fleece Luster, in the That Somewhere colorway. He does a lovely job. His booth was gorgeous. I was like, I can't even go in. It was like that booth it was so lovely that I really I was like, I can't go in there and buy one thing. I'm going to buy 5 things. I just like cannot go in there. I just can't go in there. I can't go in there. Because I have some of this fiber still. That's beautiful and gorgeous. And now I have more fiber. I just can't go in there. I just can't go in there. And then the yarn was by Wandering Wool, and it's a lovely purple. This is her Ossable sock. It's an MCN, 400 yards, 100 grams, in the Knitting in the Nashville Night colorway. And I met Joelle at TNA and then again at the vendor market, and she is lovely. So yay her, and yay her yarn company. She dies out of DC. Okay, so then I'm just pulling these in order. Renee also gave me needles, but you don't need to see that. So then from Gail's Art. I love Gail. I never hang out with her, but I always feel like I know her. Does that make sense? It does not make sense, does it? I've got to hang out with her more. She's so cute. But these are 2 skeins that I just came to her booth in the market because you get to, if you're a vendor, you can shop right before the markets because otherwise you can't shop. So I had stalked her online shop for, well, quite frankly, months. At least a month. But I feel like maybe 6 weeks. Since Leslie made those stinking socks. The graffiti on asphalt, which was so pretty. And so I knew that I wanted these 2 skeins. So I just was like, I would like that and that, please. Which made it very easy. This is her Crystal Blue Persuasion colorway. And it is a superwash 75% superwash BFL, 25% nylon. It's 465 yards. It's so pretty. It's really not my colors, but I love it. And then the other one that I must just have is her Owl colorway. And she's actually donating a percentage of her profits. I believe it's her profits. To a bird conservancy organization. So yay! And it's also just awesome, right? And it's about owls. I almost requested enough of this to make another mama vertebrae. Really? I should never wear a variegated piece of clothing. Like, I just don't have the sassiness. I'm sassy. I'm just not quite sassy in that way. Like, that's not my flavor of sass, so that I can pull that off. But I was tempted. I was greatly tempted. Isn't that pretty? So there's that. Oh, and this is all in my vendor market bag. Not my vendor market. Yeah, the vendor market. My market bag, which I still have my one from last year. Okay, so then I did go to Miss Babs. I tried not to. In my defense, my loose defense, it's not really defense. I had started knitting the Megan's sock pattern, the expanding community, and I was knitting it out of Tarte, and I really love how that feels for socks. So I pretended that I needed more. I didn't. But I pretended I needed more. So, this one is Veil of Mystery. It's the cosmic base that I really fell in love with. So, ooh, right. And I don't have any blue, as I have discussed. I have little to no blue. So that was totally justifiable, right? The Cosmic is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. And it's 3-ply. I really liked it. Then I also, in the same base, got the Berlin colorway. Oh no, wait, this is Tarte, but it's a 4-ply, which is also, it's 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon. But it was just so pretty, and I was high a little bit, maybe. Oh, shush. It's gonna be so pretty for socks. And then this one was not even my fault. I wanted to get something in the Biker Chick colorway. But this is the Tarte base. Again. Which again, I feel like I'm really like for socks. We're applying 75% superwash merino, 20 or 15%, 25% nylon. But it's orange. And I've been wanting the colorway for a while. Somebody else helped me pick it out even. I didn't even see it. I was gonna walk away. And she was like, here, I think this is for you. And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay. And so then fiber optic, I've never even bought fiber optic. Really, I think I bought Gil. I've never bought Gil's Art yarn. The only thing that I purchased that I have purchased from the vendor before and the thing I got was the Miss Babs. Everything else, I've never had Gil's Art yarn. Yeah, everything else is new. Some of them, most of them are new vendors even to me. So, from fiber optic, I don't know how I've ever lived long enough. Every time I see it, I'm like, no, I don't really need a big gradient. But this time I fell down. You can only withstand for so long before you eat the cupcake. So, and Kimber and her helper were so awesome and nice and wonderful. And they're from Cincinnati, so how could I not buy from them? I feel like I was Joanna Spring for just a minute there, the way she does her head. I copied that from her, apparently. So, this is 80% merino, 20% silk. This one is the steampunk colorway. Orange. And this one is the damson to gold gradient. It's also got some orange and gold in it. That blue, I'm not blue, right? So just, in a minute, the fiber and stuff is going to get so high they're going to be able to see the bottom of it. I'm almost done though. So then, from Lisa, who's fibernymph.org. I've never purchased her self-striping. Somebody may have gifted me a sport weight once. No, it was fingering weight. It was fingering weight, but I never purchased it. This is the Rainbow Riot colorway, and I don't have any rainbow things. So I had to do that. And this is her Bounce Base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. And she was my booth mate. Like, she was right next to me. I had to buy that. I traded for it. It's the last thing. Oh, no, it's not. It's the last fibery thing. It's the last thing made of wool. I had to from Mustache Sheep. Because I know I'm never going to be able to get hers any other time. So I had to abuse my vendor privileges and buy this. Oh, isn't her logo is so pretty. But look at this colorway. Now that yellow is popping a little bit more than it does in real life. But it's gorgeous either way. This is her Perfect Sock, which is 80-20, 463 yards. And it is her Poolside Mojito colorway. Isn't it pretty? I didn't get the sesame. Don't judge me. I got this one. And then the last thing I purchased, oh, Malia gave me that. The last thing I purchased, I did purchase a spindle from Jerry Brock. Because again, I drink the Kool-Aid. There's just no way around it. I had to buy the hedgehog one. Shush. It has hedgies. Right. There was a rabbit one too. I could not decide between the two. But then the hedgies were wood burned, and so therefore I felt like I needed the hedgies. I don't know why that made the decision for me. But I have got to convince my papa, who is a whittler, to hook me up with some spindles. There. Okay. And mine is a 9.2 ounce, 26 gram. Hoodly doodly. And it's Osage orange. Then Malia, which was at the bottom of my list, my bottom of my bag, so I couldn't get to, sent me she gave me, she was there. She gave me a pair of needle keepers, which are called the Magic Wand, which I've so been wanting to put on my Vita Janche. So I don't know how she knew that, but she did, because she's magic. what these are. If you are doing circular needles, whether you're magic looping, using them as God intended, whatever. So like you have this, like, see on this one, like this very easily can come off because A, it's linen, and B, it's not too small a needle. So you literally, this has like a little crossy bit in it, and you just jam your needles in there, which of course I'll be able to do, right? And then they just stay in there. So you put this whole thing in your bag, and your needles are going to stay in there. They won't, A, poke through your project bag, and B, your stitches won't slide off. So then when it's time to use them again, you just pull them out. Ingenious, right? It's just like an aluminum tube with a cap with some slits on the end. So you could totally make that happen for yourself. Or you could buy a pair of needle keepers, the magic wand. I'm trying to see if it says it. Patent pending. This is not specific. I know she bought hers at a retail location, but I'm sure you can find them. Needle keepers. Isn't that cool? Such an ingenious, simple idea that is so functional. And also, I really enjoy that sound. I'm not gonna lie. You need to, in a pinch, perform as the canasta part. What are those things? They're not canastas. Why do I have the wrong word in my head? Ah, that was such a fail. That would have been so cute if I had gotten that right. It's castanets. Okay, if you have to perform the castanet part in a pickup mariachi band, you're totally set. Sorry, that was a little protracted. If this had been stand-up, I would have worked that out by now. It's not stand-up. Okay. So those are all the things. Now this episode is already really long, and now I'm starting to think about like how to tell you about the retreat, and I don't even know how to do it. So I'm gonna try, but I will fail miserably. Okay, so I'm Super Summer Knit Together, which is held in Nashville, Tennessee at the Scarrett Bennett Center, hosted by Laura and Leslie of the Knit Girls. That's the facts, Jack. Right? Right. Okay. So I went last year, so this is my second year. So I get to be kind of fancy, like a returning camper. What should I tell you? Knitting retreats are awesome. If there is any knitting retreat near you that's hosted by reputable people, I don't know of any that aren't, but I'm just saying, do make sure the people you're giving your money to have a name, that you know where to find them in the event that they abscond with your money, etc., etc. There's some sort of refund policy like attached for like super negligence something. Okay, so like caveat. Don't trust everybody just because they knit, but yeah, you can give them a little bit more leeway than other people. But still use your noggin. But if you can go to a knitting retreat, you should. Period. End of story. That's all I'm saying. You should just go do it. Figure one out. Do it now. There's got to be one near you. I can't go to all of them. I would love to. Like, I would like that to be my job. But unfortunately it's not. So I try to limit to where I can drive to within reasonableness. And like I can only go to so many a year because scheduling wise. My partner does not have a fixed schedule. Like he does not go to a place from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. So that's also a consideration. A lot of times if I go to a retreat, he has to actually take time off from work. Unless it happens to be a time when the child is not in school or something. So there are lots of factors that make it so that I can't go to every retreat. But I do get to go to a few, and they're awesome. While I'm talking about that really briefly, a couple of people have asked me if I'm going to Rhinebeck this year. I don't believe I'm going to Rhinebeck. I had a beautifully generous offer for a ride and like awesomeness, but I don't think I can make it happen this year in terms of just, again, scheduling, dollars, etc., etc. But I am going to try my darndest. To go to the Michigan Woolen Fiber, which is in August, which is like that's like in 3 weeks. I better start doing my exciting persuasion tactics on my partner, Because I would really like him and the daughter to go because the beaches are up there and I would really like to do that too. Oh well, sorry. That's an aside, but just FYI, I don't think I'm going to Rhinebeck. I would love to go. I will live vicariously through all of you who do get to go. But still go to a retreat. It's awesome. This year, I felt like it was even better than last year, if that's possible. I think I wasn't as stressed out about vending this year because I had done it once before. And so I was better at being like, I'm here. There's nothing else I can do. I knew that I had super great helpers lined up. So that helps a lot too, to take away the stress. It's the most convoluted explanation ever. It's not even an explanation. Just recapping. So yeah, we got there Wednesday. I drove with Malia and Corey, which was awesome. They're such great people to ride in the car with for 5 hours. They're hilarious and personable and kind and wonderful and good and magic. And their teeth go ding. That's how great they are. And so then we got there, we got to like socialize with people and we went to dinner, we did the things. And that's pretty much what you do. You take classes and you go to dinner and you hang out. And that is a knitting retreat and it's amazing. I had classes with Sadie, who is of the of Knitter's Nightmare Yarn, who also vended, and of the Yarnivore podcast. So I took a fleece prep class with her, which was really great. I felt like I came away thinking, all right, I've looked at I've purchased video courses of this. And now I was still intimidated, but just the actual touching of things, I was like, I'm totally gonna do this now. So yet another thing to cross off the list of I will never do, which is prepare a fleece. Now, I'm not actually doing it yet, but for the longest time I was like, I will never do that. And of course, I'm gonna do it. I took Malia's class, which was Find the Spindle That Sings, which was really trying to get people who kind of know how to spindle spin, but just don't quite jive with it and try to get them, which was excellent. Of course it was. I already said good things about that. And then I took Amy Herzog's class. I took her, she had 2 classes, the Fit to Flatter, or Knit to Flatter, I can't remember which one it is, and Mindful Modifications. So I had already taken her Fit to Flatter, Knit to Flatter class on Craftsy, and I have the book. So I did the Mindful Modifications, which I think was a good selection. It talked a lot more about the math behind modifying garments, which I do feel comfortable with in a lot of ways, but I still got good information out of that. One of the things that she said that I feel like is not proprietary, that I feel like I can say, one of the things that was most striking to me, that can be accessible to the general public about it, and I'm going to poorly quote her, so just be prepared. She said something to akin to that when we put on off-the-rack clothes, every time we put on a piece of clothing that is not custom fit to our body, it tells us that there's something wrong with our body. Because we internalize that. It's never like, this shirt is made ridiculously small on the bust, or these pants are ridiculously long in the rise. Okay, I will own that, because Lane Bryant, you're out of control. Your pants are all too long in the rise. Like, that's not a part of me that's broken. You're broken. But in general, you know what I mean? Like, you think, oh, my arms are too long because every shirt I try on is too short. Or, you know, my boobs are too big because everything gaps. So, like, the beauty of having a custom fit sweater is not only that it looks attractive, which is awesome, but B, it doesn't tell you that there's anything wrong with your body. It says everything about your body is good because I fit it all. Now, let me also make a caveat. I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I in no way feel like my body is ideal or that I am at 100% health. I know this really weirds some people out, that a morbidly obese woman is saying that she's okay with her body. I'm not trying to make anybody feel uncomfortable. Like, I know that I'm not at optimum health. Like, just physically. Like, I don't believe all of the bad healths that are associated with, like, normal obesity versus, like, crazy obesity. But I know there are, like, physical limitations to how much stress my knee cartilage can take. Like, okay, so, like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable in thinking that I am at 100% optimum health. I don't believe that about myself. I also don't want to hate myself. And so a great way to not hate yourself or to not be constantly annoyed by your country fed arms is to wear clothes that fit you properly. And that's one of the beautiful things that we can do as knitters, is make something that fits us properly. Because self-hatred is way worse for my health than the fat. I will say that. Now that I do believe. I don't have a medical degree. I believe that though. So anyway, so I feel like I sometimes have to like insert that like awareness of myself. Like I'm not like obliviously going through life thinking that like I'm perfect. Like that's in no way what I think. But I also really don't believe in hating myself. So, like I'm just putting it out there. I guess that's all I can say. So anyway, I could go on a soapbox for this for like 45 minutes. Do you hear me like reining myself in? I'm doing it, like to try to not soapbox on you for a minute. But so the class was really great. And I feel like I didn't hear any complaints about classes. So that was good. I heard only good things. I ate some really delicious meals. I drank the most giant mojito in the world twice. After I'm usually too cheap to buy mixed drinks in a public place. I'm more of a brown bag in the trunk car kind of girl. Not really, I don't drink, but you know what I mean. But I did, like, as a treat to myself, we went to a restaurant after Saturday's, the vending market, and I had an alcohol check that may have been more than my food check. Because I got 2 pint-sized mojitos, and they were delicious. So delicious. Oh my gosh, but then, it's like embarrassing. It's just, I would have done this sober too. But then during the closing ceremonies, me, sat next to tiny Laura Nelkin and Amy Herzog. But I didn't really make that connection when I sat down because I was just more concerned that she was a very tiny person and that she might feel very overwhelmed by me sitting right next to her, but it was crowded, so I needed to. So I was more like trying to not like overwhelm her. I don't know why that is. When I'm next to a round woman, I will just sit up all on her business. But when I'm next to a small person, I always really try to give them space because I feel like that might freak them out. But not that they would, but I feel like it might, you know. I sometimes make smaller people uncomfortable, and I know this about myself. So anyway, so I had 2 giant mojitos, and I'm me, right? I am super loud. I have volume control issues. And I just feel the need to share my opinion with everybody sometimes. So tiny little Laura Nelkin at one point was like, and she didn't say it in a way that made me feel bad about myself, so don't think that at all, but it was just funny. Like, oops, funny. But she was like, oh, you're such a good peanut gallery. And I was really like, oh, yeah, like she's probably really weirded out by me right now. And like, there's no way for me to explain to her that like, that's kind of my thing. I'm just like kind of loud and obnoxious. Feel the need to insert my opinion where it doesn't belong. So anyway. But I'm not like ashamed. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable for me. It was just one of the moments of like, oops. So people will say things to me like when they meet me that they're afraid that they're going to make a fool of themselves. That's me telling you I always make a fool of myself. No matter what. That's what I do. I'm good at it. So never feel like you're going to make a fool of yourself. We're in it together, sisters. Brothers and sisters. We're in it together. So anyway, I didn't tell you a lot about the retreat, I feel like, but I don't know how to tell you, like, that I sat with really awesome people and we talked, we knitted. Like, that's really ultimately what it is, but it is the most beautiful, like, feeling of kinship. Like, again, you just, like, look out and there are 100 other people knitting or spinning or grooving on the thing you groove on. It's a pretty powerful experience. It is a feeling of fellowship in a way that we don't get in our everyday existence. I didn't get to sit with everybody, knit with everybody. That's always a disappointment. the first 2 days I was like, I'm doing so good. I sat with very different people and I ate with different people. And I felt like I met some new people that I had not known before. And it was really awesome. And then after that, I felt like I was so like doing classes and setting up for vendoring and all that kind of junk that I was like, oh no, where did that go? But I still love venting because it's really fun to actually get to hear you talk about my stuff. Because I know you're talking about my stuff. No. But to hear you talk about like what you like about bags, or if you don't like something about them, it's really great because I don't get that. I mean, some of you are super cute and send me notes that are like, I love my stuff. But you know what I mean? Like it's good to even overhear like some people who, you know, a lot of the folks at the vendor market have no idea that who I am. I have a podcast at all. Rightly so. But you know what I mean? Like they're not even editing on that level of, you know, I shouldn't say that because she might repeat it somewhere.
What?
More than 3 people might listen.
What did you say?
Not to you, Sweet Pea. So it's really good to get that feedback. And it's also just super fun always to get to match a face up with a name. And this happened even better this year since I had a list of pre-orders. So I actually had your name physically right there. So it was super awesome. And of course I had super awesome booth babes. Fun for Tracy, who's Tracy, who filled in for Paula. She totally did a pinch in for Paula because Paula was feeling a bit under the weather. She's better now. She's fine. And Quilt and Knit Nut Joe. Oh my gosh. They're the best booth babes ever. I always do. I should never even question it. They basically do all the work, so I just get to talk to people. Who? Yes, please. Thank you. So yay! It was wonderful. And I guess that's all I should talk about because now we're like at an hour. I have every intention of recording next week. We should be back to a, you know, semi-regular weekly schedule. And I believe that's all. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.